Hi everyone, so today I'm going to show you how to draw a technical drawing or a flat drawing of a t-shirt. So we're going to do it together, and I'd like you to step by step pause the video whenever you like to see how I'm doing things. But I don't want you to copy what I'm doing, because you're going to draw your own t-shirt, and your own t-shirt is going to be a different shape than mine. I also put up a few examples, and take a few minutes to go pick out your t-shirt that you want to draw. So I'd like you to not choose a black t-shirt. If you choose a black t-shirt, is that you won't be able to see all the stitches, right? Place it flat on the floor, flat on your table, and take a picture of the front and the back. Those pictures of the front and the back, I'd like you to send it to me at the end of the lesson so I can see what you drew your pictures of. This is the t-shirt we're going to draw today. These are the examples I drew earlier that I put up that you can access to see how these different shapes are drawn. And you can also see what pens I used, because if you don't have different fine liners and different thicknesses, you can just use a normal pen. So that's what I used there, and you can see how it worked. Because the point is that we're supposed to understand what the t-shirt looks like, even if we can't see the t-shirt itself. And it should be representative of what the t-shirt looks like when it's flat. So I drew this one as an example to show that they can be folds represented in a flat drawing. Before starting, you need to have a hard copy of the template. This template isn't accurate, but it's going to help us today to put our lines where they need to be. If you haven't got the hard copy of this template, I'd like you to pause the video now and go print it. But if you do have the hard copy, then I sent it to you through the post. I also sent you a sheet of tracing paper and some white paper. I'm not going to use the tracing paper, but I'll let you know when you can use it if it makes your life easier. And I'll link a video for you to look at if you're not sure how to use tracing paper. You'll also need a pencil, maybe an eraser. If you don't have one, it's okay. And a few pens. Today I'm going to use some fine liners, so I need 3 different thicknesses, but you can also use a normal pen or whichever you've got available. The 0.8 actually is the outline, represents the outline of the technical drawing. 0.3 is all the seams and the edges. And 0.1 will be all the stitches and the folds. Okay, so this is a t-shirt I'm drawing. I've already taken a picture of it flat, so I know the shape of it flat. So we can see that the front is also shorter than the back. You can see that in the collar, the back is higher than the front. It's got 3/4 sleeves, a pretty straight sleeve. And there's a seam, this sleeve seam goes from underneath the armpit to the collar. So there's no seam on top of the shoulder. This is the shoulder. Okay, so this is the hem, the sleeve hem. And you can see there's 2 stitches close to each other, but it's not close to the edge. It's about 1 centimeter in, okay? So you need to know that and to look at that before you draw. Same thing with, this is the hem of the end of the t-shirt around the waistline. I've got 2 stitches here, about 1 centimeter in. You're going to draw your own t-shirt. I don't know if you can see, but I placed my white paper over the template. I can see through it. The template is really just guidelines to know where to start drawing. If you can't see anything, you can just either use a tracing paper and draw on the tracing paper. And at the end of your drawing on the tracing paper, you can just place it back on the white one. Or you could just do it at the window if that's comfortable for you. If you want, you can tape your paper to the table so that it doesn't move. I'm going to start drawing the t-shirt. So it has a very wide neckline. And it doesn't have any shoulder seam because the sleeves go up into the collar. I'm drawing the back and the front. Okay, so you can see on template the arms are actually going down along the body, but I'm not going to follow that because I'm following more my picture of my flat t-shirt where the sleeves are actually going outwards. But I know that probably my sleeve will be, my armpit hole would be about around here, onto the collar. My t-shirt is actually quite wide. Okay, so, and it's actually quite short as well. So the t-shirt's not much longer than the waistline. You can see the waistline is about here. So I'll do the sleeve ends about at the elbow, so I'm going to use this side. So, and in a technical drawing, most of the lines are always really straight, except for the collar, the bottom of a t-shirt, and maybe the armhole seams. But those are really straight because they go into the collar. If you want your drawing to be very symmetrical, you can use the tracing paper once again to make it very symmetrical. Except if your t-shirt is not supposed to be symmetrical, I'm using 3 different pens. I'm using fine liners, 0.1, 0.8 and 0.3, because we need 3 different thicknesses to draw our flat drawing. If you don't have 3 different thicknesses of pen, in my examples I just use a simple blue pen and I drew different thicknesses myself, as you can see here. I'll show you on this example my 0.8 with my thickest pen, and you with your thickest pen, or maybe you just want to use one pen and draw multiple times on the same line to make it thicker. So with the thickest pen you're going to draw just around the outline of your drawing, and with your 0.3 or your medium thickness we are going to draw all the seams and the edges. So the armhole is a seam, the collar line is an edge, there's actually a seam here, that's the waistline. You may not have one. So with your thinnest pen, I'm using the 0.1, we are going to draw all the stitches. You may not have any stitches, it really depends on the t-shirt you chose. I'll start with the outline. This is the outline, you can see, and it needs to be connected. And I drew it twice. The outline of your front and your back needs to be exactly the same, okay? You can use the tracing paper to copy the front and the back. With your medium liner, you're going to draw the edge, let's have a look at the collar. The collar has a second seam here because it's a different fabric that's been stitched over. This line here that we drew is actually the edge of the collar here. But there's a second seam that we need to draw, and then there's the stitch that we need to draw. I'm going to draw a second line parallel to those lines. It's supposed to be represented about 1 centimeter in. I won't draw it that close. And we also saw there's a stitch, just one, inside the second seam, so it would be about here, okay? But we're going to draw it as close as we can because the seam is actually quite close to the edge. That's it. That's the edge of the collar. Got the edge, second seam, and then stitch. Edge, second seam, stitch. And this one is the outline of the t-shirt, so it's the thickest line, medium line, thin line. Let's have a look at the seam here connecting the sleeve to the body of the t-shirt. That seam here hits the collar, and you can see that it doesn't actually go over this part, it really just hits this seam. So we're going to draw it with the 0.3, the medium thickness pen, so it stops here. It doesn't go all the way to the edge of the t-shirt. There's no stitching close to that. Let's have a look at the sleeve. Same thing, we've got a stitch at the sleeve, so it's along here, but we can't see it when the t-shirt's flat, so we're not drawing it either. We can see about 1 centimeter in, there's 2 stitches. So that's what we're going to draw with your thinnest line. And same thing as the sleeve. At this point, it's actually hard to see what's the front and what's the back. So we're just going to color in the inside of the shirt so that we know that this does not belong to the front of the shirt. It really is just the back. I want you to do the back as well. The back is basically the same thing for all the edges, so that we know there's an edge here, and you could use the tracing paper to make a copy so that it looks the same. That's what I want to end up with. So you can just write front and back, and we're done. So I want you to take a picture of the technical drawing you ended up with, copying your t-shirt. This one was a bit complicated. I know your one will be a lot simpler. Draw what you can, choose a t-shirt that you can. And I want you to send me the picture of your t-shirt as well. So I want a picture of your technical drawing, front and back, and the picture of your flat t-shirt, front and back, okay? If you have any insights, or if you found something pretty difficult or that wasn't clear to you, I'd like to know as well. Okay, thank you very much.